they're throwing Nick Maximov straight to the wolves. So Punahele is a really tough fighter, and honestly scary with his knockout power, and he fights at an amazing gym out of Extreme Couture. I wonder if by giving them these fights, Nick, these fights, it's because he's such a highly touted prospect, or maybe, Dana White's. I know I don't know if he's the biggest fan of the Diaz brothers. I know the Diaz brothers bring him money, so maybe because Nick fights out of the Nick Diaz Academy, he's trying to get this guy beat, especially putting him against guys with big power. So with Cody Brundage, he's a guy who has serious power. I mean, it was scary. I actually had money on Nick Maximov that fight, and won, and he won, and I think I got him at, I don't remember if he was a slight dog or a slight favorite. I'm not sure. I think he might have been a slight dog. And man, it was just scary when Cody was like throwing shots, but Nick has that, Maximov has nasty wrestling, and it's funny because he trains at a Nick Diaz Academy, which, Nick Diaz was known for having bad takedown defense, so not the best wrestler. And I mean, I think even Nate was like, oh, I've only learned wrestling when guys started coming to the gym who were wrestling, which is kind of insane, but Nick Maximov has a long history in wrestling, and it's great. Obviously, Nick and Nate's jiu-jitsu is second to none. They have interesting striking style. I mean, they're kind of vulnerable to leg kicks. I don't think Nick threw too many leg kicks, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, Cody, I think if I'm remembering correctly, Cody Brundage was beating William Knight, and then he got knocked out. Let me just look that up real quick. I don't want to screw something up. Cody Brundage, let's see. I'm just looking. Oh, man, I don't know why it's not working here. Cody Brundage. I'll look it up later. So basically, yeah, so, Punahele, his record is, he was a really highly touted prospect. Actually, I had money against him against when Dushko fought, because I thought Dushko was really freaking good. But Dushko ended up, the problem with Dushko is he keeps his hands down, and keeping your hands down against Punahele, and they were just going at it, and he caught him and knocked him out. I mean, Punahele's a big Hawaiian guy, big jack guy, big hands, actually giant jaw, so the guy can take a shot. I mean, I don't see anyone putting this guy out, Puna. So, but then he lost a fight to, I actually thought that he was going to knock out Brendan Allen, because Brendan Allen has a tendency to either keep his hands down, he's not very good on defense. And actually, I made money against that, a good amount of money on Chris Curtis, because I had a feeling that he's going to keep himself vulnerable, and people always underestimated Chris Curtis. And after watching him perform against Phil Hawes, people thought it was a fluke. It was not a fluke. And I knew he was, he's good. He also trains with Sean Strickland. And yeah, so, Puna is a very scary, tough guy, and Nick is a young guy. But I actually believe in Nick. And actually, I grabbed him, I believe, at like plus 150 or so. But it looks like that the line went bigger in Puna, which makes sense. And Nick's plus 170. And Puna just actually physically looks bigger. Nick Maximov, you could see a lot of his weight is in his legs, which makes sense from the wrestling. But Puna's just a big-ass guy overall. I think Nick might be a little bit taller. But I think the play is Nick. I mean, probably by decision, because I don't see him, finishing Puna maybe by a submission. But Puna did fade, I think, later on, but he was just still throwing back. He's a tough son of a gun. And, I have a ton of respect for him. So Nick Maximov by decision is probably the play to go. I mean, if it's going to end early, it's probably going to be Puna by knockout, or if you could also do actually maybe bet Puna by knockout, and then bet Nick by decision, and do like kind of like basically adjust the odds so that it's the same. So let's say Puna by knockout, let's say it's like plus 100, and then let's say that Nick Maximov, you probably get him at like plus 300 by decision, and then basically you put in, you got to balance out the money so you get the same payout either way. So basically it kind of gives you two outs. But obviously you get less profit, but at the same time you take a little bit less risk. I mean, it's possible that, Puna wins by decision, so, you could lose in both cases. But, obviously you just have to adjust, your betting amount, so you're not like over betting. Just because you're doing the strategy doesn't mean that you over bet more than what your standard risk is. You should still keep the same amount. And actually, I was right. Cody Brundage was the guy. So he actually fought at light heavyweight, and he was, like William Knight. He's like Rocky Balboa. You get him down, you're dominating the ground. He gets up and then knocks you out. And then he's actually went down and fighting at 185. And if you see, he's actually he's a big dude. And it seems like he carries that power down to 185. So if Nick was able to survive that, I'm going to say that he can survive Puna. And especially, I thought that Puna was like, I was so high on this guy. And then when he lost to Brendan Allen, obviously Brendan Allen is an amazing fighter, but I just thought that Puna was so damn good. Like, this guy's going to be a problem in the division. And the way that Brendan beat him, I thought, hey, maybe let's pump the brakes for a second. And obviously, he still showed tremendous display of heart, but I think that Nick is a great prospect. He's going to be learning leaps and bounds. He's still a young guy. And again, if he was able to navigate the waters with Brundage, I think he can navigate the waters and put maybe a wrestling clinic on Puna. On the other hand, you got to keep in mind where Extreme Couture has great wrestling. I mean, you could see with Francis Ngannou. So, Puna has a good shot of winning. But either way, it's going to be a great fight. I'm really excited for it. Might be the fight that I'm most, excited for. I am Russian, so I'm always biased towards the kind of fighters of Russian origin. But either way, I'm still excited. That fight, obviously, the Shavkat Rakhmonov or Rakhmonov against Carlson Harris. That's a great fight. And what is it called? And of course, the main event. Jack Hermansson and Sean Strickland are amazing fights. And I'm going to be breaking down those two other fights for sure. Thanks, guys. Please like and subscribe, and I appreciate all the feedback. Thanks.